What is up, guys? Welcome to a new video. One of the biggest things that has come out of the preseason for me is how broken Vayne is right now. Like, even in just a decent Vayne player's hand, she is 100% ban worthy. I even got a pentakill on her yesterday on stream, and I'm a boosted monkey, so that kind of proves how good she is. Probably half the questions I get though right now on YouTube and everywhere else are about Vayne. They're like, what are the best builds? Why is she so good? How do you play her? And stuff like that. So I'm going to go over all of that in this video. My old Vayne main habits are definitely coming back, and I'm thinking about making more Vayne content anyway. So if you want to see that, leave a like on the video. Let me know what build you're using in the comments, but we are going to start with the build stuff. Timestamps will be down in the description for like runes, masteries, some tip stuff, or like how to actually play her. Builds right now though in preseason are up in the air a little bit for every champion right now, but I think these are the good ones. So first up is the crit build. This is the most OP one for me, a big part of actually why Vayne is overpowered in general right now. Ideally you want to go BF Sword, Shiv, Infinity Edge, Phantom Dancer. That's the core. Then you go something like a Bloodthirster or Last Whisper or a defensive item after that. Now personally, I do take Warlords or Bloodlust with this because we get lifesteal so late. We kind of need it from somewhere else, but I'm going to talk about like maybe some kind of new mastery pages, what keystones to take after the builds. You would also usually max your Q now rather than W with this build because it is a burst build. It does have some sustained damage. Obviously it has attack speed, but that comes a bit later into the game. Vayne got 3 buffs at the end of season 6. An increase to bonus AD on Q at later ranks, which is why we kind of want to max it first. Q can be used on towers, and your Tumble's bonus damage will crit if her basic attack does. In theory, why this build is so good is because it could give you an auto crit, a Q bonus damage crit, a Shiv damage crit, and all of that just from using one thing, just from one attack. That is why it's actually worked so well. You have 3 parts of damage that's able to crit, and obviously that gets increased by your Infinity Edge that you're going to buy as well. At 3 items is where it really goes off the charts. So you have 80% crit plus a ton of attack speed. You basically 3-shot people with crits, tumble, and silver bolts. That is why it's so overpowered. You need 3 hits, just 3 hits to kill anyone that isn't a tank basically. There's just way too much damage stacked in a kit with this. I think like tumble damage, shiv damage can carry. It's amazing 1v1, it's amazing in team fight. It kind of really covers all bases. One thing with this crit build though, I just want to clear up very quickly. Bloodthirster actually gives the most AD and percentage lifesteal as a lifesteal item. It's going to mean that you get bigger crits and bigger heals from crits as well. Last Whisper actually is more valuable in this build as well. Normally on Vayne it's not that important, but crits are kind of your main damage really, and it's AD damage, which means you need Last Whisper to make crits get through the armor late game. This is my go-to build right now. Everything else I try is decent, it works, but this is just kind of too broken to be on Vayne at the moment. The next one's not really a build, but like what about Dustblade on Vayne? Like everybody is asking me this question right now. So it's super cheesy, but it's really good if you get ahead. If you don't know what cheesy means, it's kind of like a gimmicky build. Like it's good, but it's not really 100% optimal all the time. Normally in my opinion, like Dustblade in general works when you're going to go lethality runes or get other lethality items, but with Vayne it is actually a bit different. You can proc the true damage over and over in a team fight because of her ultimate stealth, so it's not even a ton on one auto. It's over a fight you'll be getting like 500 plus true damage probably. Plus the AD on it actually makes your crits hurt more as well. So I have found like Shiv, then Dustblade, Phantom Dancer, Infinity Edge is the most disgusting 4-item combo, but it is super awkward to fit into that build. I tried it before where I rushed it, it was okay, but the Shiv damage is basically doing the same job because you get the extra damage from an auto attack there, even though it's not true damage. Second works well, but only when you're ahead because it slows down the major 3-item spike, your Shiv, Infinity Edge, and Phantom Dancer. 4th item after the 3 combo works well and is super good versus low health targets like assassins or AD carries. You legit actually one-shot with that. The problem is 80 true damage means less and less as the game goes on. Like 80 true damage on a 1000 health target in lane is almost 10% of their total health, right? But 80 true damage on a 2000 health target in team fights is less than 5%. So basically true damage does not scale, so it's better earlier. That is why it's awkward to fit into a build unless you're very far ahead. If ahead, Shiv and Dustblade is amazing. You will completely dominate mid game. Basically, if you want the short version of that, yes, it's very good. Yes, it's overpowered with her ultimate stealth, but it's really hard to fit into a build. So if you can fit it in, it's great. If you're ahead, it's great. Otherwise, probably not. So this next build is basically crit taken one step further. Well, 20% further to crit with every single auto. This is 100% crit Vayne. 100% crit is normally a cheese thing that doesn't actually work very well, but this actually really does. Shiv, Infinity Edge, Phantom Dancer, Essence Reaver, and then Bloodthirster or Last Whisper to finish it off. Basically, you're getting more AD from like a Bloodthirster, for example, but instead of the lifesteal, we get 100% crit and 30% cooldown reduction, which is crazy. Cooldown reduction means more tumbles, more condemns, basically more stealth in team fights, more burst, and better kiting as well. In my opinion, if you're going to do this though, you do need to start buying Elixir of Wrath after these 4 items because you need that lifesteal for team fights. Plus 100% crit means every auto heals you for a ton. Now it is pretty ridiculous. I will say that I've tested this a little bit and it's so cool. I might do a gameplay of this one actually because it's really fun to watch. It's a bit more advanced though than the normal crit build because you have have to kite and position better, otherwise you're going to die a lot, but the damage is really, really good. You could also go Shiv, Infinity Edge, Essence Reaver, Bloodthirster for a lot of damage on your Q, but less attack speed. It's kind of up to you. I don't think that's as good because I'm used to having more attack speed, but that's kind of up to you. The final proper build is Lethality, One-Shot Assassin, whatever you want to call this. In my opinion, if you're going to go Lethality now, you kind of need to fully jump into it and get them all. Triple Lethality is what, in my opinion, you have to go for right now. So it'll be Duskblade, Ghostblade, Edge of Night, and I personally actually like Edge of Night on Vayne. You pop the shield before a fight and you can actually dive in, it absorbs the first spell, and that's kind of the whole point. You're diving in as an assassin Vayne. This is not really a tank killer because you don't have any attack speed. It's not really the most consistent damage output build at all, but you can legit one-shot people, especially if you end that build with a Shiv and Infinity Edge. You dive in, you pop the enemy carries, legit, it is ridiculous. It's not the most practical, but it is insanely fun and it actually works. If you wonder how this build works properly, then you can watch my full gameplay of it where I do actually one-shot someone, which I'm gonna link down below. So it is really good, but it's kind of gimmicky. Before we move on from item stuff, defensive items, right? More Mortiers is much better on Vayne now after the changes. You get cooldown reduction, which means more tumbles, a 400 magic shield, 80 lifesteal. It's actually very good versus burst champions. Mercurial is really good. Obviously, it's always good on Vayne, to be honest. It replaces the lifesteal item in your build, though. You don't, well, usually, you don't really normally get 2 lifesteal items, so this is going to be the one you get. It is only against crowd control, really, though. I know loads of Vayne players like getting this, and yes, move speed is great and like cleansing stuff, but really, it's only against hard CC. Frozen Man is actually a good option versus AD and AP damage, like a mix of it on the enemy team, because you're getting a lot of health here. It helps you versus both of them. It lets you kite them much better as well, so it's normally better against sustained damage champions rather than burst. Guardian Angel is your last resort. If nothing else is going to keep you alive, then you actually get this, but you have to think though, if I build this, do I actually survive when I revive, or do I just die again? Because if you're going to die again, what's the point? Let's go on to masteries though. So Warlords is probably the best because it's hard to build lifesteal early now, especially with the crit build. You're not really going to get until 4th item. It kind of helps her with a weakish lane phase, but it also helps in team fights. 1812 is the old standard build, I guess. Like, it's very similar to what we had before. 18012 though is the new upcoming page, and I actually really like this. Now, cutting doesn't give us a ton much extra. Dangerous Game is probably the biggest thing. Resolve actually makes our lifesteal 8% more effective, a better flash and heal cooldown, and health regen as well. I think this might actually be better now, especially out of the lane phase. Give it a try at least in your next few games. Let me know what you think. Personally, I think it's actually really fun. In the Frosty Tree though, Bounty Hunter, which I always call Battle Hunter, and I don't know why. I just had to re-record this like 4 times. Double-Edged Sword or Battle Trance. Bounty Hunter, in my opinion, is overall the best late game by far, and considering Vayne is short range and a late game champion, like taking damage from Double-Edged Sword is probably not what you want to really do. Fresh Blood versus Feast is the other one I want to talk about. Feast is more defensive for harder lanes. It's healing a bit more back like when you kill a minion. Fresh Blood though is like a mini Misfortune love tap, just a little bit of extra damage, which actually could be nice if you're going to go in a bit more aggressive once you get 6 on your Shiv. So if you don't want to take Warlords, there are 3 other choices I think are actually legit in the game. You can use it, probably not optimal, but you can actually make them work. Thunderlords is awesome for burst. It really makes you this 3-shot like carry, I guess, especially with lethality or the crit builds. It's way more leaning towards assassin with this because you go in and you have to one-shot someone within that 3 combo. Otherwise, Warlords is just miles better. Storm Raiders is so much fun with the crit build. You run around like a madman. You cannot be stopped, but again, you trade off like the lifesteal for it. It might not be the most optimal, but it is really, really fun. It's really cool to kite with. You just crit someone in a team fight and suddenly you're running around kind of like a Jinx passive. Further, again, would be a lot of damage, right? It would make your crits hit a lot harder. It even makes you deadly in the lane phase. The fact that abilities don't stack, it doesn't really matter for you really, but I'm not sure you would even need more damage if I'm honest. Like, I would rather have lifesteal than extra damage. For runes, the most common are still the standard stuff: AD reds, armor yellows, magic resist, or attack speed blues, and attack speed quints. Now we're going to go into some general tips though. These are going to be things that I try to use every single game. So I've had like a sit down, I've thought about what I actually try and do, and this is what I've come up with. I've tried to aim stuff that isn't too obvious either. The first one is you auto and Q to cancel that auto. You can do this with CS. You get the minion and then you tumble to trade with the enemy champion. It is probably the easiest trade you can actually do. Just auto attack into a Q with the enemy champion. You can put both hits onto them. You can only put one of them. It's up to you, but it's just free damage. Auto plus Q plus E is a great trade that they can't really return anything. E actually applies Silver Bolt, so that's a 3-bolt trade and it sends them flying away. It's very mana intensive though, so you don't want to use it too often, but it's a very easy trade that they can't really trade any damage back for. Another thing is just auto and then use your E to cancel the auto animation. I see a lot of people just E someone into a wall, and that's a mistake. You really want to auto attack and then instantly use your E afterwards. You just get a free auto worth of extra damage, and that's also an extra Silver Bolt stack. So on Vayne, it is actually really important. Using your tumble in the lane phase, you either want to CS and tumble forward to trade, or you want to CS and tumble backwards to avoid damage. Use it in both ways. It's depending on the lane which way you're going to use it. A lot of people don't actually use tumble that much in the lane phase on Vayne, and that is a mistake. It's important to use it either way to get control or not to lose health. Cancelling your Q animation is very important as well. Most people will know this one, but Q has a diving animation, right? You can actually cancel that by using it against a wall, because you just faceplant into the wall, you instantly fire off your auto attack. What you want to do is auto Q into a wall and almost instantly fire your auto tumble. You can also use this with your ultimate. One thing I like doing all the time is I use my ultimate, I tumble into a wall, and it just instantly fires off that first shot, which does a lot of damage. Level 6 is really go time on Vayne. This is where you want to stop playing like a pussy. You can take 3-shot trades and then go for the kill like with silver bolts to kind of chunk them down and then go for it. You always want to try and tumble forward and to the side, kind of in a diagonal, never straight forward. It makes hitting skill shots a lot harder to hit on you if you go forward and to the side. Also, you want to tumble to the side where a wall will be behind the enemy champion at some point, or might be. I know there's a lot to think about in a fight, especially with Vayne, but while fighting, you're always looking for that condemned stun, so it's important that you tumble and try to get them at least to turn their back onto a wall. The final last proper tip, I guess, is the juke with your ultimate. Now, a lot of people don't do this because it's very hard to actually understand how annoying this is when you're playing Vayne. Your ultimate stealth is a very big thing, so you need to try to use it properly. The best way is to walk up, for example, first, and then use your Q down. So you want to walk one way and then tumble another, basically. Because you can always see your champion and you don't actually go invisible, like you don't disappear off the screen or anything, it might not seem like a big deal, but trust me, playing against a Vayne who does this is so much more annoying. I've played a lot of Vayne in the preseason, and this is everything I can teach you guys for now. Hopefully you guys find this useful. It gives you a bit more of an edge. Thank you for watching until the end, but for now, let's go to the robots.